It's Wild Riley, and I'm back with another episode of What I'm Not Buying at Retail, at any of the retails. Elderberry wine, there's 4 cases, there's 48 bottles here that I'm not going to buy at retail at the supermarket, mainly because they don't offer elderberry wine. If you want a nice rosé, go anywhere. You can get a nice rosé. If you want a Cabernet Sauvignon, go over there and get a Cabernet Sauvignon. But good luck finding a nice, decent elderberry wine that was hand-picked and harvested and then fermented and bottled by your guy, right? So I'm not buying that at the superstore, the supermarket, the corner market, or anywhere. I'm making it for myself. And this is what I sip on normally, is what doesn't fit in these bottles goes into these jugs. And there we go. A nice, clear elderberry wine. Not bad, not bad. A little bit of it in its infancy, but nonetheless a decent wine. And I'm not buying salt at the supermarket. I got this from a salt artisan who refines sea salt and does all kinds of special blends and stuff. I grind it up in the mortar and pestle because he sold me a coarse salt, which is great because it's even more salt. I'm not buying halved tomatoes. There's a fine example of what we're growing in the garden. And when we get enough to jar, we're jarring them. It's about average 10 jars per canning session. 1 quart jars. And I'm not buying eggs from the grocery store. Not at all. If I ever have to buy any of these things, tomatoes, eggs, wine, I'm super annoyed about it. Lemons, I got a nice lemon tree. And I'm not buying sunflower seeds for mammoth sunflowers from the local hardware store next spring. Because we have lots and lots of seeds. We're probably going to plant just tons of seeds, protect them really well, get them grown up, and have a really beautiful, yellow, bright front yard. So here's some ideas. Right? Like little soldiers lined up. And these can fetch a pretty penny if someone wants a specialty wine like this, you know? And I'm not buying it from the store. Also because I can't really afford it, right? Inflation's gone up. My modest wage fetches less product than it did before, just a year or two ago. And kind of funny because I've been working hard, doing my best to make a living for the better part of half my life, right? I'm kind of middle-aged now. And it seems like you'd be getting ahead that way. Well, there's other ways to make it. I'm going to have a wine cellar that a lot of very, very well-to-do people might have. But it's all going to be my home brew. Not fine wines from France or Italy or anything like that, but my own. So what can you do to take yourself out of the circuit, right? I'm going to grow seed production. So the first season or two is going to be all about stockpiling that seed. And then once you have the seed enough to do a crop, then you're set. So instead of paying $5 for 10 or 15 seeds, or $3, or whatever they charge at your local hardware store, how about you do that once, grow a couple nice sunflowers, properly cure the sunflower head, and then save the seeds and really grow something that's true to yourself, true to your local environment, true to your growing style, your water availability, your soil pH, all that. And another thing, if there's nothing that 2021 should have taught all of us, is that you're not really entitled to anything. So we're really not entitled to natural gas coming from a couple of pipelines, right? We can see that right now. We're not entitled to it. We're not entitled to groceries because if there's a disruption, you're not getting your groceries. We're not entitled to fuel to fill up our car. Otherwise, if we were, the price wouldn't be getting jacked all around, right? The things that we thought we were entitled to, medical care, things like that, police services. It's turning out that no, those are services. They're not rights, right? So think about that. Take yourself out of that dependency because you're absolutely not entitled to it. And if you start living like you're not entitled to it, that you don't need it, you have maybe an alternate option like this to produce that. It did take inputs. It took table sugar. I had to source some of that, right? Sometimes I use honey. Got to raise the bees and harvest the honey. Had to go forage for the elderberries. That takes time. Had to source the bottles. Well, I'm doing that while I still can. And guess what? These bottles are reusable. So as I use them, I wash them out, cycle them back in. The corks, that's another story. You can reuse corks. I've tried it. It works pretty good. You get like 2-3 uses out of a cork. But maybe stock up on a few extra corks. And then the brew equipment. Same thing with canning. You need the lids. You might need a little bit of salt, lemon juice, whatever. With the chickens, you got to take care of them. You got to feed them. You got to take care of them, make sure their mites are in control. Collect the eggs every day. Keep the chicken coop clean. It all takes effort on your part. But we are not entitled to the goods and services that we once thought we were. So take that as a lesson, and let's work together to start the different things that we're good at or that we're interested in. We could branch out, and maybe I could trade you a bottle of wine for a beanie that you knitted. Or maybe I could trade you some canned homegrown tomatoes or some eggs or some seeds for your garden next year. Maybe we could trade some of these things for something that you have of value. Or if you have need for it and you're willing to put in the time and effort to follow through, I'll just give you these things because now you're part of the fold. Now you're part of my people, right? So it's not charity as much as it is like giving someone a hand up instead of a hand out. And if we have that mentality, we can really create a Garden of Eden on this planet. So, like I said, it's not without inputs. It all takes time, effort, energy. When I'm at work, working for the man, I'm thinking about this kind of stuff in the back of my mind. And when I get a day or two off once in a while, I take that extra time and I reinvest it into this mentality. And maybe, just maybe one day, we'll do the things we love, and we'll do it, and we'll fetch a decent reward for the things we love in exchange for what someone else loves. And it'll be kind of like a gift economy, almost like a barter economy or something of that nature where we exchange value for value. So I know that might be a pipe dream, but something to think about. And if you do your part and enough people do it, it might just come to fruition. So anyway, I am not buying this wine from the grocery store. Checking out. Talk to you guys later.